Today we're making crockpot soap from wellnessmama.com, and the recipe is very simple. You need 2 kinds of oil. On the website it also gives you other kinds of oil besides coconut and olive oil. You need your lye, which we got on Amazon. You're also going to need white vinegar to neutralize any lye that might get spilled onto surfaces and utensils and things like that. Olive oil, coconut oil. You're going to need a scale that measures in pounds and ounces or grams. And you're going to need a good crock pot. We tried this recipe with an inexpensive crock pot and it just doesn't cook right. You will need a stick blender. You'll need a wooden spoon, a metal spoon, and your essential oils.
Go.
So the first thing we're going to do is get our oils heating. And we're going to need 16 ounces of olive oil and 16 ounces of coconut oil. And we'll liquefy the coconut oil in the microwave before adding it to the olive oil. So we've liquefied the coconut oil in the microwave, and we have 16 ounces, and we're going to add that to our olive oil. And then we're going to let that heat until it is about 120 degrees. Then once it heats up to that point, we'll add our other ingredients. So we're going to need, according to the recipe, 4.84 ounces of lye. So we'll set our scale to ounces using a disposable cup. Set the tare down to 0. And we'll simply pour the lye into the cup until we get to 4.84. Being very careful with the lye, not to spill it on surfaces. Keep your food and everything else away from it while you're doing this step. And I just pour it and watch the scale until... Okay, so we've got our lye poured, and it's at 4.83. It's bouncing back and forth between 4.83 and 4.87. So we're going to call that close enough. Then we're also going to need 12.16 ounces of water, which I measured out, and it's 1.5 cups. At this point, we're going to take these things outside to a better ventilated area, and we're going to add our lye to our 1.5 cups of water. You never add water to lye. It's always adding lye to water. So we're going to take these 2 things outside and put the lye into the water. You're going to use a glass container because this is going to heat up. And we're going to let it sit. The water's going to get cloudy and hot. We're going to let it sit until the water clears. Then we'll bring it in and add it to our crock pot. Okay, so adding the lye to the water. We're going to give it a little bit of a stir with a metal spoon. And as you can see, that's clouding up. It will heat and steam because it's cold out tonight. And we'll let that sit until it gets clear. Okay. So bring your spoon and cup inside once you've mixed and pour some white vinegar on it to neutralize the lye, and then it can be washed in regular dish soap. I'm going to dispose of the cup, wash the spoon with dish soap. Okay, so our oil has come up to about 125 degrees, and you're going to want that to be between 120 and 130. So we'll get rid of this, and we'll get ready to add our lye and water mixture to our oil. It took about 10 minutes for this to become a little bit opaque from as cloudy as it was. We're going to stir this in with a wooden spoon, and then after we get it mixed, we are going to take a stick blender to it for approximately 5 minutes. So get this all blended in. Take your measuring cup over to the sink and fill it with white vinegar. Well, you don't have to fill it, but rinse it with white vinegar to neutralize that lye. And then we'll get mixing. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, so that's about 4 minutes. And we're going to put the lid on that. It's going to go for about 50 minutes to about an hour. And what you're going to look for is it's going to start to bubble around the edges. And the edges are going to bubble up and start to cave into the center. So we'll check back with some pictures as it's cooking. And place the lid on it too. So while the soap is cooking, we're going to talk about the molds. We've ordered these molds off Amazon. They're silicone soap molds. These are, I got it Joann Fabric, so you can acquire them from just about anywhere, but silicone is the easiest to work with because it's easy to get the soap out. I know some people have used a Pringles can where you can peel the can away after the soap has gotten hard and make slices. I know that you can use a silicone bread pan and cut slices after it starts to harden as well. These are the essential oils that we've used in the past to make the soap with. We use Strictly Young Living. Today we're going to make peppermint. We've made lavender, we've made thieves, grapefruit. You can pretty much make the soap with any essential oil that you choose. And we do use a full 15 milliliter bottle in one batch of soap. You can use more or less to your preference, but we find that the 15 milliliter gives a good scent to the soap. So this is about after 7 minutes. You're going to start to see it's just starting to cook around the edges. We have a stronger crock pot, so it may take, last time we did it took about 35 minutes. If you've got a less powerful crock pot, it might take up to an hour. But just keep an eye on the edges, and like I said, it'll bubble up and start to cave in on itself in the center when it's done. Okay, here's where we're at about the 15-minute mark. We still have a little bit of cooking to do. This is almost a half an hour in, and we're going to let it go just a few minutes more to get that center a little bit more cooked, but we're just about there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so looks like we're just about done. You can let this go a little bit longer until the outside gets a little more puffy, but this should be okay. So we're going to pour in our 15 milliliter bottle of essential oil. We using peppermint, and you're going to give it a good stir. Make sure that it distributes all around. My eyes are watering.
Distributes.
And then we are going to carry it over to our soap molds and begin pouring. And what you're going to want to do is slightly overfill them because they're going to sink as soon as they start to harden. And basically we just kind of give them a fill like this, and then we'll go along and neaten them up a little bit.
It's a two-person job.
Yeah, it's good to have two people for this step. The crock pot's really hot, and so is the soap. We're not going to want to get that on your skin yet. Okay, and then we'll go along and smooth those out and add a little bit more to the low ones.
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to want to stop playing with it when it starts to set up, because the more you pile on top of it, it just turns into big chunks afterwards. So we're at the point where we're going to leave well enough alone and let it go. So these are our soap molds. What we're going to do now is set them in a safe place, let them cure up for about 24 hours before you take the molds off. Then after that, you're going to let them sit somewhere where they can breathe for about 3 or 4 days, and then you can go ahead and start using them.